welcome to another podcast for Earthworks Hub. I'm your host, Ivan Orlovic, and today I've got someone here that's going to talk about a product that we all know about, and I'd say most of us probably have this on our wish list, especially if you've got excavators. It's Paul Brown from Engcon, Australia. Paul, thanks for joining.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. I have a million questions for you. I don't know. I'm excited because I love this product, man. I always wish I had one of these.
Yeah.
So I hope I don't overwhelm you, but and I might not even finish today, man. We'll see how we go.
No, all good, mate. All good.
Well, that's it. And I'm sure a lot of people want to know a lot, as much as they can about this product, you know?
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things that excites me about coming on. Obviously, seeing what you're doing and probably innovating this side of the construction business to the podcast. It's good to see someone's taking the bull by the horns.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, man. I appreciate your comments. Thank you. The first question I'm going to have is, am I saying it right? Is it Engcon? Because that's what I always say. Is that the right way to say it?
It is. It's Engcon is correct. Most people do pronounce it Engcon, but it actually is, the G is silent. It is Engcon. So, which is the reason, how that came about is the owner and founder of the business, Stig Engstrom. So the G is not pronounced, but so the ENG is for Engstrom, and then the con is construction. So Engcon.
Engcon. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. I always thought it might be like engineering construction or something. So
yeah, no,
yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. If you look at so Stig, his surname is Engstrom. So yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's good to know. All right. Well, while we're on that topic, let's talk about. So maybe you know what? Let's talk about yourself first a little bit. So, what do you actually do for Engcon? Yeah.
So I've been with the business now just about 3 years. I'm the country manager. Stepped into this role probably just over 18 months ago now. I originally came on board just as an area sales manager. Our previous country manager / general manager went off to new adventures, and then the business sort of asked me to step up, and here we are.
All right, good. Yeah, so you've been there for a bit. What's your background in that? Have you been in earthmoving for a while, or?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've been in earthmoving on around the sectors for probably just over 10 years now. Started out of school as a tradesman, working in construction, just on the union sites and in domestic building, and got into sales when I was about 30. Basically, where I cut my teeth was working for a company called GET Australia, so doing all the ground engaging tools, so teeth, edges, and buckets and so forth on that side of it.
GET. Okay, yeah, I think everyone knows them as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. And then you just progressed into Engcon after that, is it?
Yeah, look, there was obviously, as in sales, you sort of change around from here to there and a few different little things that you sort of do. But for me, it was always coming back to the earth moving side of it. It's a bit of a passion for me, I guess. Something I really enjoy. I guess it's that young kid in us when you're around the Diggas and so forth. That gives you that little bit of youthful excitement.
Yeah. It's true, and it's something that never leaves you, isn't it? Like I still get excited looking at machines and stuff. I don't know, just like a big toys.
It is, yeah. It's just one of those things. Like it's always the staff that I've either worked with that are new. I said it's either an industry you'll love or you'll hate.
Yeah.
And I've still yet to find someone who comes into it that hates it. So
yeah. Unfortunately, you do get people. Yeah, you do get some.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's it. Well, they're lost. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So actually what I noticed is I always refer to Engcon as the first thing I think about is a tilt rotator.
Yep.
But there's actually a lot more to it, isn't there? Because I even look at your website and the first thing it actually says on the site is the fully automatic quick hitch is like the thing that you talk about. So what is there a primary product and the tilt rotator is just part of it, or what's the go there?
Yeah, I mean that is obviously the tilt rotator is our heart and soul of what we do, but with the system, I guess that's probably where the market education now comes into, and it was no different when I started in the business too. Was with our system, with how we operate it, there are parts you require. It's not just the tilt rotator. So yeah, we do the hydraulic quick hitch as well, which then picks up the tilt rotator, so you can drop that on and off. And then obviously you've got other components as well, through the install. So yeah, there is a bit more to the business than just the tilt rotator itself. There are obviously different versions and systems you can go with to suit what you want to do. So I call it like a bit of a Swiss Army knife of earth moving, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, yeah. No, very good. All right. So before we talk too much more about the rotator,
Yep.
let's go back to the actual company. So you're obviously Engcon Australia. Tell
Yep.
us a little bit about Engcon. Yeah, like how you said that guy started it. Maybe just do a little bit of a brief history and how big it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, Stig started the business in 1990, but it did start a little bit prior to that as well. So he was obviously working as an engineer for a business that was starting up to look to develop the tilt rotator. That sort of went to the wayside a little bit, obviously through maybe product development or resources. But we won't go into too much of the boredom of that. But in 1990, Stig actually opened Engcon, which is based out of Sweden, a Nordic business. And from there, it was just, developed through his engineering skills, pretty much in a garage of his property where he lived. So it was basically a build-to-order system. And then from there, it sort of grew and grew and grew over through the 90s to now, where if you go into the Nordic region, say example Sweden, the market penetration for a tilt rotator is 98% of machines that are sold in the range that we cover comes out with the tilt rotator on it. So, which is mind blowing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there you go. Very patriotic people there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're really good innovators. You only got to do a bit of research to what the Swedes do, and there's a lot that we use day to day that they developed. So
Yeah, true. All right. So Swedish product.
Yep.
So you guys are obviously bringing it to Australia. What's the setup like in Australia? How many workers do you have, or how many offices?
Yep. So we've got 7 staff in total, including myself, and our head office is based in Western Sydney in St Mary's. We are actually just about to move to a larger premises, obviously with our growth, just at Eastern Creek. So right near where Diesel Dirt and Turf is, where I'm sure most of your viewers would have attended or go to or know of. So pretty much a stone's throw away from where DDT will be. But so 7 staff in total. Have a salesperson in Queensland, Peter, who looks after Queensland and WA and Northern Territory. Got Will, who looks after New South Wales, South Australia, and then Terry, who looks after Victoria, Tasmania, and then I look after certain segments in New Zealand, and then we've got 3 internal staff, so warehouse, spare parts, and then internal tech support. So
Yeah. I actually met Terry. He came out on site and
Yep.
had a bit of a chat with me. So nice guy, man.
He's still a bit green. He's new to the industry, but we always knew it was going to take a little bit of time when you're not from the industry. But no, he's started to progress nicely.
Yeah. No, seems like a nice fella, and actually very approachable and talkative, and knew about the product and everything.
Yeah.
So it's good. Yeah, good. Nice guy, man.
Yeah, he is. That's what it's all about, mate. Is having people that can be approachable and connect with the customer. So
yeah. All right. So that's a bit about the business.
Yep.
So do you guys do the installation of the tilt rotators, or do you outsource
that? The correct answer is outsourced, but in degrees it's insourced as well. So pretty much what we do is we run what we call an Engcon ESP, so an Engcon service provider. So we have local to each state installers that work alongside us to help with the installs. So yes, they work for themselves as subcontractors, but they're pretty loyal to what we do. We're side by side with them, but we've got installs in pretty much every state.
Okay, cool. All right. So let's maybe delve a little bit deeper into the products now. Yeah. So I'm probably going to focus more on the actual tilt rotator and the tilt. That's only because that's what most of the guys here resonate with. So what is an actual tilt rotator for someone that doesn't know what is the tilt rotator product? Yeah. How does it work?
So the tilt rotator product, obviously, it depends how far you want to go into it. But as I said, there's 2 versions where we can go the direct mount, which is the same as like your tilt hitch, where it directly pins onto the excavator. Or we can go what we call the sandwich solution, which is a little bit different, which is, as we discussed before, it's picked up with by the quick hitch, which is then connected via what we call our ECL blocks. Those ECL blocks run hydraulic ports and electronic port as well. So, but to go to the tilt rotator, it's a 45-degree tilting tilt rotator, which is plus minus 45 degree, and then obviously 360 continuous rotation. So probably where the most adaptation is, as you said earlier, would be on the rail, purely and simply because they're fixed to that channel. So it allows them to get into positions that they can't obviously get to with movements, moving from point A to B to C to D and so forth. So and that's where the adaptation's coming from, purely based on, the best way to describe it is it's like your arm. It has, you've got the flexibility with your wrist and so forth to movement, and that's where it sort of comes from. Is that freedom to be able to move the attachment without having to move the machine.
Yeah, no, you're right. I always thought like tilting hitches were amazing. Yeah. So imagine now the tilt rotator's like next level.
Yeah, it is.
And then the ability to use like the EC oil ports and that, so you don't have to actually get out and disconnect and connect hoses, do you?
No, correct. So and that's the other side of the business. Obviously, we'll probably touch on, but we also sell attachments as well. So from buckets to hydraulic attachments, which is why I said with the Swiss Army knife. So we don't run the universal pickup. Like if you go through a genuine manufacturer for machinery, they'll have what we used to call the PUP, which is now gone, much to some people's not pleasant, but that is what it is. But we use an S-type pickup, so our pickups are very different to the standard. But so that basically the tilt rotator or the quick hitch can pick up our attachments depending on what they're running. But we do hammers as well, where we'll supply a head bracket, whether that's a mechanical or EC oil, so they can run that attachment through as well without connecting hoses.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, so that was going to be my next question as well. Yeah, so what attachments can you use with a tilt hitch? With a tilt rotator, yeah.
Rotator, yeah.
Yeah, that's
so. I mean, obviously mechanical, buckets and so forth. Pallet forks is what we also sell. So anything mechanical that you can run through, as I said, without. As I said, pellet forks, buckets, digging buckets, cable buckets, that type of stuff. You can just pick up with our pickup as long as you've got our bracket on there. And then we also do sell hydraulic attachments such as hydraulic pellet forks, stone grabs, sorting grabs, timber grabs, chainsaw grab, compaction plates, all that type of stuff. So the only thing that we're starting to bring out now, or we're looking at doing, is like a finger grab as well, and then potentially looking at other products down the line as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah. What about augers? So you said before, hammers you can use on them. What about augers? You can?
Yeah, you can. Absolutely. It's it's trying to find the right products without getting into a war with an established product. So it's said the same with hammers and so forth. It's such a competitive market that we basically just adapt our bracket across to that product, and the same with augers.
Yeah. All right. So if I got your Engcon tilt hitch put onto my machine, so you're saying they don't all come out with the EC oil, so you can just get a hitch so you can still use your old pipes, or not really?
No. So what you do is, say, example, if you've got a hammer that you've got on a previous machine and you wanted to bring that across to use on our system, what we do is we can supply you either a mechanical bracket to put onto that attachment, or an EC oil bracket attachment. An EC oil bracket for that attachment. So you can run it through the EC oil, or you can choose to run it mechanically. It's really depending on the customer. Some customers, example with the hammer, if they're not using it a lot, they will just run it with a mechanical bracket and put it into the auxiliaries as per normal. But customers that do use it quite a bit and want that time to use the hammer instead of changing over the hoses all the time, they can run it through the EC oil.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So all you got to really do is just change the head bracket on the attachment. Yeah. To
correct.
Suit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
And the benefit of that is obviously you've got, I'm pretty sure all the people know that it takes anywhere from probably 3 to 5 minutes to change a hydraulic attachment sometimes. With our EC oil, it's the same time frame as to change a hydraulic attachment as it is for a mechanical attachment. So, as long as it takes you to pick up a bucket, it'll take you to pick up the hydraulic attachment as well.
So you just drop it off, put it back on, and that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And then I love that those little nippers at the back of I've seen on the rotator that they lift. Do they come standard, or do you have to buy those separately?
No. So there's been a little bit of a change with those. It used to be what we called an integrated gripper. But now as the system is changing and evolving, it's what we call a detachable gripper. So those can come on and off. It is optioned on certain sizes. So, I mean, with we'll start with the 204, the EC 204, that comes you can either option it with the grippers or without, which are built in still. But then from the EC 206 to the 226, it's what we call detachable. So you can either choose to have it or choose not to have it. And then if you do need it down the track, you can always look to upgrade the system, and it's quickly just the same as the EC oil. It clicks through, you can take it on and off. And then the EC 233 is an integrated gripper on there.
Yeah. No, I reckon that'd be so handy to have. I've seen people lifting stuff, moving things. That's awesome. I love watching all those. I love watching the posts of people using them, and that. They're really good.
Yeah, most people who have got them really enjoy them.
Yeah, and you see most people post it up always because they love using them.
Yeah.
I actually didn't say this at the start, but which machinery can these tilt rotators go on? Is it just excavators, or is there anything else? No,
it's just excavators. Yeah, absolutely. So there's nothing. We have seen where people maybe have worked things out for machinery outside of excavators, but that's something that they would adapt through engineering. But yeah, it's primarily probably 99% on excavators, ranging from about 1.5 ton up to about 35-ish ton.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Yeah, what's the sizes that you can go? So you can go up to 35 ton. Wow.
Yeah, depending on the make and model. To be honest, there's some manufacturers, depending on really what it comes down to, is the weight of the machine and then the breakout force.
Yeah. All right. And what happens with that? Yeah, do you actually lose a little bit of breakout force having all those attachments and hydraulics on there?
Same as a tilt hitch. I always say to people, you always lose breakout force when you've got a tilt hitch on there. It's never going to be to what it was if it was just a hitch.
Yeah.
Or the old pin-on version that you would do with your attachment to the boom and stick. But yeah, you do, obviously, absolutely. But that's why now we really push the sandwich system where you've got the quick hitch and the tilt rotator. So if you do need maximum breakout force, or you need to dig a trench down to a certain point that might be not required of the bucket, of the tilt rotator and the bucket, you can take the tilt rotator off.
Yeah.
That way you're increasing your breakout force.
It's true, yeah, and then you're not sort of damaging it and stuff for nothing if you're not
absolutely.
Really,
and the same if you're running a hammer too. Like if you're running a hammer on a tilt hitch, you're doing damage.
Yeah.
Same with the tilt rotator. Yeah, you can obviously drop the tilt rotator off and pick up your hammer directly to the quick hitch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. That's good. Yeah, good to have that option as well. Yeah, because I know like in Melbourne we have a lot of rock, so a lot of times you're braking, sorting, and I suppose you don't really want to have that the rotator on if you're just sorting and shaking it around. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that's good to have that option that you can just have the hitch and the sandwich one. Yeah. No, very good. So if just say now I decide I want to get one, I've got a machine, I want to get an Engcon installed. Can you install it on like older machines, or is it only just on new machines, or what's the limitation there?
No, definitely. We do some, machinery that people already own that might be a little bit older. It's just obviously making sure we get the right system installed to suit that machine itself. I mean, primarily probably, 80% of our business is to new machine. Obviously when someone goes and buys a new excavator, that's when they're going to do it because they'll run everything through, obviously, their finance. But yeah, we do existing machines out in the industry, but it's not as common.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose it's a big investment, so a lot of guys probably think, well, if I'm going to get a new machine, then I'll get the rotator as well.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I suppose when putting an old, oh, you never know. Some people love their old machines and can't get rid of them, so
Yeah, correct.
you'll
Absolutely.
you'll you'll have that market as well.
Yep.
All right. So just say now I've decided I want to get one, and we're going ahead. What's the installation process? Yeah. So what's the process
Yep.
in brief to get it?
Well, it's probably something that if I start from the start of the process, it's so the viewers do know it's so we don't sell directly to the end user. We only sell through the OEM or dealer network. So, example, if you're going to buy one of your sponsors, Melbourne Tractors, a Cabelco, you would go through them to purchase the product. So although we will quote the end user, we don't sell directly to the end user.
Yeah.
In the system itself. And typically then, even if a customer does want, attachments after the fact, we always check with the dealership first to make sure they're happy for us to deal directly on the attachment side of things.
Yeah.
But pretty much what would happen is, say, example, you rang me for pricing. I would inform you that obviously I can't sell to you directly. You'd have to go through your dealer network. We'd send you the quote, and then obviously through to the dealer as well. From there, it's basically it's all liaised via obviously your salesperson and ourselves, and with example our sales people on the ground. We would engage our ESP, to work within the dealer's workshop once everything's ready to be installed. The ESP goes out, installs it. Typically takes anywhere from 2 to 3 days.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
there's a
not
little
bad.
bit more than just the quick hitch and the tilt rotator that gets installed. We also put what we call DC2 in there, so that's the control system.
Okay.
And we also change out the joysticks as well from the genuine to ours.
Yeah, those joysticks look really cool. I've seen.
Yeah.
If anyone hasn't seen them, I'll post up some pictures on the edited
Yeah.
version. Yeah, those joysticks look really really cool to use. Heaps of buttons on there, so it'll probably take a bit to get used to.
Yeah, and what we do is everything gets installed back as if it was factory. Obviously, there's just a few more rollers and buttons on there for what we do. Obviously, with the tilt, rotation, and then obviously the gripper on the back, and then obviously your auxiliary functions as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then what about, so after it's installed, do you provide some type of training? Like, how does the
Yeah.
operator know what to do now? Yeah.
Yeah, typically we always try and go out with a handover. So obviously you touched on with Terry previously, but I think he was meeting up with obviously a customer in Melbourne, and then it'll get installed by our ESP. We'll always go out and do a handover with the customer where possible and give them a little bit of training. And then we offer obviously support after that factor as well. We always try and touch base, a week after, 2 weeks after, and then as often as we can. It's not always as often as customers may like, but obviously, that's what we try and do is make sure we're offering the support. But we always say to the end user at the end of the day, if there's a problem with the system, get in contact with us, because the salesperson or a dealership isn't going to know the product like we do, and that way then we can offer them support after the install as well.
Yeah. Two questions stemming out of that. One, if I've got a particular brand machine that I like, and that dealer doesn't really know much about Engcon or doesn't do it, so is it best for that person just to get in touch with you guys, and then you'll get in touch with the dealership? Or
yeah, absolutely. Typically what we always say to the sales guys for the dealers, for example, is if they rang us, saying, look, a customer's asked us to get a quote on this system, we will always turn around to that salesperson and say, look, if you do need a hand with information, don't be afraid to get us involved, because as I stated, we don't sell directly to the end user anyway, so we aren't going to come in and try and undercut them or undermine them. Our business is to try and provide them with the best service and make sure the system is set up the way it is. We don't expect the salespeople that are out there trying to sell machinery to then become experts in tilt rotators either. So that's what we're here for. That's what we specialise in, and that's the part of the service that we provide, is to make sure that these guys are focusing on their machine sales, and then we'll support them where we can. Now, obviously, as these guys start to sell more and more of these things, they have a better understanding and know the products pretty well, but they're not going to know the ins and outs. So, and a lot of them do engage us to help them with the information to the customer. it really is starting to get I think they're really starting to understand that, we don't backdoor them, I guess is the term, is that we're not going to come in, speak to that end user, and then, swindle that away from them. It's just not our business model. Our business model is to support the dealer. They're our primary focus, but then also support the end user to make sure they're getting the system they need from day dot. And then, as an example, with that handover, making sure they understand it, and then make sure the system is set up the way that they need it set up.
Yeah. Oh, cool. All right. And then the second question I had about that sort of topic is warranty. So what sort of warranty is offered with the Engcon product?
So the tilt rotator has a 2-year warranty, from the install date, not from when it's delivered or when it sits in our warehouse. The hard part for us in Australia is we're so far away from where the product is made in Sweden. It can take us a long time to get it here by boat. So, and to just sort of touch on that, we are very different in this market. We are a stocking agent, or a stocking business, I should say. Where a lot of through Europe, it's made to order because it's obviously a lot less time frame. But it's the way we go about it.
Yeah. So 2 years. So you do actually have some in stock, yeah? So it's not
Absolutely,
always...
Yeah, absolutely. So we bring in hitches that are ready for machinery to suit, whether it's a Hitachi, Cat, Cabelco, whatever it might be. They're what we call a direct connect. So the pins and everything are ready to go. All the center to centers and widths are ready to go. Tilt rotators we stock, the grippers we stock, and the attachments we try and stock as many as we can. And that's probably the reason why we have to look at our new facilities, because we do sell a lot of attachments. Yeah.
I love that picture that you've got on the website, and it's got the rotator in the middle, then a circle with all the attachments. Like you say, exactly like a Swiss Army knife. Someone gave my son one the other day, and it's just funny that you mentioned that now, because they actually just gave me one. So there you go. That's funny, man. Yeah, no, they are like a Swiss Army knife, which is, I suppose, what you want. Like you say, the rail would probably love this type of stuff, because you don't have to worry about moving the machine. Well, you can't really move it. It's pretty well stuck in one spot.
And that's the advantage of the system. It's the basis of the system really is to in Australian standards for the OHS, for the safety side of things, not having to move the machine as much. But then it's also the CO2 emissions and fuel savings. We have done some research, and it's about a 25% saving on fuel. The return on investment, although they are, and it is probably the part that we do get a lot as well, that's really expensive, but the return on investment is about 18 months to 2 years on average, depending on, obviously the business model. But it's the biggest thing for us is the savings and safety. And I'm pretty sure we're all aware in Australia, the OH&S just seems to be moving all the time. So we've got to move and adapt.
Yeah, the bar just keeps moving with those guys. Yeah.
And it's also even with the labour force too these days. Like, there's a lot of contractors out there that are struggling to get staff to, work as labourers out in the ground. So, a big part of us too is, well, you don't have to have a compaction plate, doing this. You can actually put it on your tilt rotator, or the tilt rotator can do this, and this with these attachments. So, it's a bit of a saving there too.
True. I'm just thinking about all the float drivers hating us when they turn up and they're like got 20 attachments to move with one machine. I can imagine their face.
It is. There can be a lot, but it is what it is.
No, that's it. Well, I suppose it's got to be a versatile bit of equipment. What maintenance is required? So just say I get it installed on my machine. What type of maintenance do I need to what's involved?
So the tilt rotator itself as a central greasing point. Now, if the machine does come with central lubrication and central greasing, you can connect it if it has the ability to. So that way, that's really only the maintenance is when you would service your machine, you get your tilt rotator looked at. But other than that, it's not a real lot, to be honest. We just always advise people when you're doing your checks on your machine for the grease points, just double check your tilt rotator at the same time. As I said, the tilt rotator itself has got a central greasing point where you just only one port that you would put the grease through. The grippers themselves have a couple of points because they're obviously not connected to the tilt rotator system in that way. And then obviously attachments and hitches, just standard.
Yeah, yeah. And those EC oil, the ports and that, do you have to like wipe them clean, or do you have to do any, or that's it? Do they
Yeah,
just,
no, you do have to. I mean, it's hard for people to sit there and they think it's going to be a maintenance-free thing. It's not. It's no different to a quick coupler. You've got to try and keep the debris out of them as much as you can. We do supply covers so that we can obviously try and do that, but not always. It doesn't always have the ability, but they are pretty robust, to be brutally honest. It's anyone who says that there isn't going to be a problem here or there would be lying. But there is a little bit of maintenance, just obviously to try and keep the face of those clean as best as possible.
yeah. So they don't need like a regular service or anything, do they?
No, just general. I suppose in most construction sites, with machinery, you do a daily check. It'd be the same thing.
Yeah. All right. And what about in Australia itself? Like, which state do you think uses this product the most? Have you got one particular state that stands out?
Yeah, probably New South Wales.
Yeah.
That's probably our busiest state. It obviously shows where we are and where we're located in Western Sydney. It's makes it probably the most obvious reason as to why it is, but quickly followed by Western Australia, to be honest.
And I was going to ask you, do they use it in the mines? Is it popular for that sort of work, or not really?
Yeah, they do to a degree. Like, we do have some stuff up in the Pilbara for like BHP and Rio Tinto and stuff like that. So there are some aspects of it, obviously. Yeah.
All right. And what about, who are your typical customers? Like, are they like large companies or just smaller guys?
Varies. We have some quite large construction companies that run our product, and then we have obviously your mum and dad businesses where they've got one machine. So from there it's there's no real defining area. No, it sort of varies through, and that's the big thing, is that we'll treat everyone the same. It doesn't matter if you've got one machine or you've got 50 machines.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of guys that do like rock placement or retaining walls, and that would probably also find it handy.
Absolutely.
Moving sleepers and posts and that. Yeah. No, that's true. That's good, man. It's good. Yeah. Do you hire any of this equipment out?
No.
No. Just sell.
No, just sell. So I mean, it's as I said, we only deal directly with the dealer with the sales. So no, we don't hire anything out, and I don't think it'll ever be a path that we go down either. It's being the product that it is, it's a side of the business that we probably would never get into.
Yeah. I imagine it'd be a very sensitive product and that, and then handing it out to different people, not knowing what they're going to do with it.
Correct.
Probably destroy it and then bring it back, and not being cheap.
Yeah, and
it's probably expensive.
Not just that too. It's also because they need a quick hitch.
Yes.
Each machine, you'd have to make sure that each machine's got. I mean, don't get me wrong, the quick hitch can then pick up every tilt rotator to that size, because they range from 30 mil, so what we call a QS30 or S30, all the way up to 80 mil pickups. So across those variants, it's great. We could, if you've got the same hitch that can pick up that tilt rotator, there's not a problem. But then you've also got to have the DC2 installed, the joysticks, and everything else to run through it. So
yeah. Now it makes me feel like I asked a dumb question. Yeah, because I didn't realize. All that stuff is involved. You can't just. Yeah, you're right. It makes sense. You can't just go rent it and put it in. It's got to have all that stuff.
And that's the thing. We hear that all the time. Oh, I've got a silly question. And my answer is there's never a silly question with these. It's before I started at Engcon, I didn't really know much about them or seen them or done anything with them. So I don't expect anyone else who hasn't dealt with one to know everything about them. So
true. All right. And then how is it lately for you guys? Like, they're talking about this downturn and not much work going on for a lot of people. Is that affecting you guys as well?
No, we've been pretty steady this year, to be honest. It's we'll probably we're expecting a bit of a downturn, to be brutally honest. Considering out the machine sales themselves dropping so far down from maybe last year to this year. You probably look across the board, it's probably anywhere from 20 to 30% through most dealers. We've been pretty steady. We'll probably land where we expect it to land this year, which is really pleasing in the market that we're in.
Oh, that's good then. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because I hear a lot of people saying there's a downturn and this and that, but then
Yep.
I hear a couple of guys that I talk to that they're like, no, we're still flat out,
Yeah.
or they've still got work. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a strange
Yeah.
environment, very strange.
Yeah. I think it's we're the same. It's we speak to a lot of the sales guys through the dealers, and some of them are doing okay. Some of them are saying it's still really quiet. And then the same with the construction guys too. Some are still very busy, and then you speak to the next bloke and he's chasing work. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit of hit and miss. I think it's going to be like that for maybe a little bit longer, but I don't think it'll last too long.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you see? How do you see the future of your product in Earthmoving? Like, what do you see the future developments and stuff?
Yeah, well, it's probably a really good timing because probably at some stage next year we'll be updating our system. So what we, as I said, the DC2, we're actually launching a new product, which you can see on the website, and we do get questions on it, is the DC3.
Okay.
So that will launch, and in some factors it has in Europe already. They're still working with some of the models and some manufacturers to try and get it calibrated in properly, but largely at most points at some stage in Australia, probably late next year or early 2026, we'll have what we call the DC3, which is a much smarter system. And then obviously with that comes with the third generation tilt rotator. So the most common tilt rotator that we sell in Australia is what we call the 219, so around that 19-ton range, the 14 to 19-ton range. That will turn into a 319. So a smarter interface. It's more of a can-to-can system, so the install system will be a bit quicker, more efficient, and then the system itself will actually develop and grow with the operator too. So a bit of what we call, I suppose, AI technology.
Oh, there you go. Moving with the times, man. Moving with the times.
It's
Yeah.
scary. It's scary.
That's it. Yeah. No, things are changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially all this AI stuff. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh, good. So you've got some future plans. I suppose it's not just set and forget. You've always got to keep changing.
And the thing is too, the machines are getting smarter, so you've got to adapt with the machine.
Yeah, you're right. And a lot of machines are coming out with a lot of new technology standards. So you got to be able to adjust to that as well. Yeah.
Correct. And it's the same with the tilt rotator too. Like a lot of them, from the 6, so that 206 upwards, we also have on the tilt rotator as a standard what we call an EPS, which is the positioning system. So it has the sensors built into the tilt rotator for your tilt and rotate. As you see, a lot of the manufacturers now coming out with their GPS systems on their machines, or the third-party stuff as well.
Yeah, it's actually good that you mentioned the GPS because I almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
So you can have the GPS set up, yeah? So if you've got GPS, you can actually still have...
Absolutely, yeah. So on anything from the EC 206 up, so that 4 to 6 ton range up to the largest sizes that we do, you can run what we call the EPS system, which has your tilt and rotate sensors.
Yeah. Oh, cool. All right, excellent, man, excellent. And then... what about finance and stuff? So if guys want to get finance for this product, do they have to go through the dealership? Is that what you're saying? Or do you guys offer internal?
It is typically, it's always, they always sort it themselves because we don't sell to them directly anyway.
Yeah.
It's usually run through either their own brokers or through the dealership's finance.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, well, I'm trying to think of all the questions that my viewers will probably be asking as well. So, is there anything that you think we need to bring up that I haven't sort of brought up? Anything that you sort of wanted to talk about?
Look, there's probably lots of stuff you could go on about with tilt rotators, but for us, as I said, it is about getting the tilt rotator awareness out there. As I said, most people are now starting to see it, whether it's through the socials or something like that. We will get more active outside of Diesel Dirt and Turf next year. We're going to try and organise some dig days in certain states. I'd like to try and organise. I did see on your live the other day that I did join customers saying it'd be great to have an open day at Engcon. And to be brutally honest, I actually agree. I think it'd be great to get some information out there and have customers come through and actually see what we do and how we operate, and the systems that we do provide. So yeah, once we're into the new facility at some point, we'll probably try and do a bit of an open day at our warehouse or office in Western Sydney. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it'd be pretty good. So maybe we can get you out for that as well.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's why I was
Yeah.
putting my hand up a second ago because yeah, everyone's been pushing me like you got to do HubCon, you got to do HubCon.
Yeah.
They've already named it.
Yeah.
They're like you got to do an open day for things,
Yeah.
you know. So and there's a lot of guys interested. So
Yeah.
I haven't really had much time to focus on it, but
Yeah.
like you say, it probably is really genuinely a good opportunity to do something
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
so. I think so. And I think going into the new facility too, much larger warehouse and a bit better organised than what we are at the moment because our growth has been huge
Yeah,
across the sector. So our warehouse now is a little bit not great with stuff everywhere, but obviously as we get to the new premises, it would make life a lot easier to have some
yeah,
customers come through. As I said, do a bit of an open day, and if people want to come through and have a bit of a look. But obviously, as I said, diesel, dirt, and turf is great for us. Obviously where our stand is at the entry exit part as well too. So we generate a lot of interest before the customers even come through the gate, which is really really good. But look, there's not a lot really that I could probably go more. It's probably more customer driven questions, to be brutally honest. And but as I said, it's one of those things. If people do have questions, get in contact with us and just get some information. It's our sales guys or myself are always more than willing to pass on some information. I said it's probably most people would assume it's a really scary, over technical product, but it's actually not. It seems a lot more complicated than what it is. But once the system's on there, it's pretty easy to understand and use.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I think you're right. Yeah, a lot of people probably get overwhelmed thinking, oh, there's a lot, but if they actually just gave it a go, it wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, the customers that do go into them generally always say, I could never go back and not use a tilt rotator anymore. That it feels that foreign to them. The ability of what they have to do, the amount of time they save on job to job. Time is money and money is time. So, it's one of those things. If we can, pass on something to a customer that's going to save them, money through the cost of their machine, plus, obviously being able to do a job a bit quicker, it means you get onto the next job a lot quicker too. And the biggest thing for us is safety too. So, having the ability not to get out of your cab. On a hot day, you can sit in that aircon, or on a day like today in Melbourne, it's a bit hit and miss. It's
I know.
you can stay in that cab, then you can stay in that cab with the heating on, so and not get wet. But
Yeah,
which is really good. But probably the only other real thing is that something we have sort of launched a little bit this year too is what we call the SSO range. So which is pretty much going back to the brass where it all started. Is it's basically what we call a plug and play system. So for the machines around that 1.5 ton to 4 ton, so what we call the ECO2 and the 204, we're doing what we call as a plug and play. It basically, your machine just needs to have 2 auxiliary circuits and a quick hitch circuit, and it's basically plugged directly in like a tilt hitch. It's a basic model, but it's entry level. But you still get the adaptation of the tilt and rotate features just without any hydraulic circuits running through. And you don't need to change the joysticks. You don't need to install a DC2. So it's really, really entry level on that side of things. But, it comes at a fraction of the cost. But, it also allows the people that have got the cabin machines. Obviously, you've got all the protection, but then the canopies are open to the elements. So the DC2 and joysticks obviously aren't bulletproof and waterproof. So moisture and dust can get into them in a canopy machine. But this SSO on those smaller machines is hoping where we can really penetrate in the next 12 to 18 months.
yeah, and that might be good, like an intro to people to the product, and then they might upgrade to the next level.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. What's your prediction? Like, tilt hitches took a while to sort of come in, and now it's almost become like standard. Now most people want one or get one when they get a machine. Well, how long do you reckon before people will start having tilt rotators come in as automatically, like just very, very, very when they become almost very common?
Standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I said with the tilt hitch, I remember when they came out, the old operators would tell you if you need a tilt hitch, you're not a real operator, and now they're running tilt hitches because they have to.
Yeah.
Look, it's probably really hard to say. It's, if you look, as I said, in the rail sector, it is, if you don't have a tilt rotator, you don't get the work, put it that way. It's very, very uncommon that these guys will get on site because of what they've got to do. But I'd like to I'd like to think in the next 5 years, our penetration into the market will be quite significant, to be brutally honest. I think as times change and safeties increase, it's probably going to open up the door for us a lot more.
Yeah, I see. I was going to say around probably 5 years. Yeah, or somewhere within that, it'll start becoming like almost standard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, it's not going to be for everyone. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't. I'd love to see like they do in Sweden with the 98% market penetration, but I think tilt hitches are about 60% market penetration. From new machines sold. So, if we could get halfway there in the next 5 to 6, 7 years, I'd be pretty pleased.
Oh, that's good. Good. Yeah. Well, hopefully it gets there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we've covered most topics, and I'm hoping that I've answered all the questions. So anyone that's listening, if we haven't answered something that you would like to know about, send me a message, or if you really want, you can send a message to Engcon Australia. So Paul will get that, or look on the website and then get in touch with them that way. So what's the best way if listeners do want to find out more? So is that right? Just go to the website? Or?
Yeah. So all our contact details for each staff member is on our website. So, I mean, if you've got a question you want to run through me, you can. All my details, my phone number and email address is on there. Or if you're in a certain state and you want some information, the sales people for each state is on there as well with their contact number and email. And you can always give them a call, send them an email, or send it through to our socials, and we'll get the information we can as quick as possible, the best we can, and always here to help and grow the product.
Awesome. All right, Paul, I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing all that information. Like I said, if anyone wants to get in touch with him, exactly what he just said, go onto the socials or the website. Is it engcon.com or something like that?
.com, yeah. So www.engcon.com, no .au. Yeah. Just the .com.
That's it. All right. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you to everyone that's been listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, there's more episodes available. Share this stuff out to all the guys that you know. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, you name it. Anything, Earthworks Hub is on it. If you want information on anything else, go to earthworkshub.com.au and you'll get links to all the social network there, and to all the local businesses in Australia that are in the earthworks industry. Thank you very much, Paul.
No, thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks very much for joining. Have a good day. Take care.